Never date someone who talks about their ex on the very first night because it is not an accident. If you are wondering why narcissists always talk about their exes, it is actually a calculated psychological mind game. They are not just venting about a bad breakup, they are quietly training you on how you are allowed to treat them. By the time you finish this video, you will know the exact psychological trick they are pulling and the simple 3-step method to shut it down instantly. Picture this normal scene. You are sitting at a nice dinner, having a great conversation, and out of nowhere, your date brings up their previous partner. They might say their ex was completely crazy, jealous, and paranoid, or maybe they go the other way and say their ex was a total saint who never complained and bought them a car. Either way, your stomach drops just a little bit. You wonder why you are hearing about a stranger while eating your dinner. Psychologists call this tactic triangulation. It is a fancy word for a very dirty trick where a person pulls a third party into your dynamic to control your feelings. When they mention an ex, they are manufacturing a fake competition in your head. Think about a crowded store on Black Friday where two people fight over the exact same television box. That TV is not special, but because someone else wants it, the value suddenly shoots through the roof. A toxic partner uses their past relationships to create that exact same fake value around themselves. If their ex was a terrible monster, they're setting up a trap for you to play the rescuer. You naturally think, I am going to be better than that person, and I will show them what real love feels like. Without realizing it, you just signed up for a job you never applied for. You start walking on eggshells so you never look crazy like the ex did. If they show up an hour late to dinner, you keep your mouth shut. You do not want to complain because you do not want them calling you difficult or needy. See how the trick works. They just used a ghost from 3 years ago to stop you from setting a basic boundary today. Now let us look at the other side of the coin, which is even sneakier. Sometimes they do not trash their ex at all. Sometimes they talk about how incredible, rich, funny, or gorgeous their previous partner was. They might casually say something like, "My ex used to cook a 3-course dinner every single night after working a 10-hour shift." That is not a fond memory. That is a job description with a hidden benchmark. They are telling you that your current love is not quite enough to keep their attention. It makes you feel insecure, so you try twice as hard to win their validation. You start cleaning more, texting back faster, spending more money, and doing things you usually hate. A clinical study from the journal Personal Relationships showed that people with strong narcissistic traits deliberately keep exes in conversation to maintain power. They do it to keep you guessing, off balance, and constantly auditioning for the role of their partner. So what happens when you finally try to bring it up and tell them to stop? Here is the big challenge you run into every single time. If you say, "Hey, it really hurts my feelings when you talk about your past relationship so much," they will flip it right back on you. They will smile, shake their head, and tell you that you are just being overly sensitive. They might say, "Wow, I guess I cannot share anything about my past with you without you getting insecure." Now, the whole argument has shifted away from their bad behavior and landed directly on your supposed flaws. This is where most good-hearted people lose their minds and start doubting their own reality. You end up apologizing to them, even though they were the ones who brought up their ex in the first place. It is an exhausting cycle that drains your energy and makes you feel like you are always competing with a ghost. So how do you actually deal with this without losing your temper or looking crazy? The first thing you must do is stop playing the comparison game entirely. When they bring up an ex, do not ask follow-up questions, do not get angry, and do not show any emotion on your face. If they say their ex was crazy, do not ask what happened or why they broke up. Give them the most boring, neutral response possible. Like, "That sounds like a tough situation anyway, pass the salt." This is called the gray rock technique, and it works like magic because it starves them of the emotional reaction they are fishing for. They want your jealousy, they want your pity, or they want your anger. When you hand them total boredom instead, the trick fails instantly. The second step is setting a stone-cold verbal boundary the very next time it happens. You do not need to give a long speech or yell across the room. You look them right in the eye and say one simple sentence: "I am interested in dating you, not your past. So let us focus on our relationship today." Notice how that sentence is completely calm, polite, and impossible to argue against. You are not accusing them of anything, but you are putting up a clear stop sign. If they try to push past that sign and bring up the person again 5 minutes later, you enforce the rule with your feet, not your words. You stand up, put your coat on, and politely say you are going to head home for the evening. Toxic people only respect boundaries that have real consequences attached to them. Words mean nothing to someone who plays psychological games, but your physical absence sends a message they cannot ignore. Now, here is the most important realization you will ever have about this behavior. A person who constantly talks about their past is showing you that they are completely incapable of being present with you. They do not want a real deep partnership where two equals respect each other. They want a stage where they are the star, you are the audience, and their exes are the supporting cast. You deserve someone who looks at you across the table and is completely focused on the person sitting in front of them right now. You do not exist to fix the pain someone else caused them, and you certainly do not exist to outshine an ex on a fake scorecard. When you remove yourself from the competition, they are left standing on an empty field, playing against nobody. Remember that your peace of mind is worth way more than winning a contest you never asked to join. If dealing with these exhausting mind games has made you want to pull away from people altogether, you are not alone. Click the video on your screen right now why some people prefer isolation to understand the deeper psychological reasons behind choosing peace and solitude over toxic drama.